right, so let's give it another round of applause. All right, so you weren't here for a musical performance today, but you got one. So we're here to try to convince you why we should be the Department of the Year. So first and foremost, we want to acknowledge that no one department works harder than the others. Every department is important and does their part in making the hospital, work together and run. But we do think that this is a good opportunity to highlight the fact that mental health matters, right? So I think definitely one thing that, a lot of things came out of COVID, but one thing that came out, is how important mental health is. So again, we know this is what we chose to do as our profession, but it's nice to see that people are recognizing the importance of mental health. So just to summarize, why we feel like we should be the Department of the Year, which we'll get a little into, our accomplishments, our continued expansion, our high volume, our staff who definitely are creative, as you can see, and unique, our very strong supportive team environment, our passionate employees, and most importantly, our patient satisfaction. All right, so these are just some of our accomplishments. In 2022 was really when we saw the expansion of IOP and outpatient services to our new Shelton location. It grew a lot faster than we thought. We planned to start with one IOP track, some med management, some outpatient therapy, but we are now at 3 tracks, lots of outpatient groups, intakes, individual therapy. So we ended the fiscal year at 65% over budget, which surpassed all of our expectations. And even with this high increase in volume, we've still continued to see growth in our Derby locations. So it's really the same population. People, that could come to Derby could come to Shelton. So it sort of took from the already, the population that we already serve, and I think if anything, it just shows the need in the community. Our outpatient staff, many are trained or became trained in specific trauma-focused evidence-based treatments. A lot of this was done on their own time, their own money. I think it shows their desire to get, the latest and the best skills to help treat their patients. And that, I don't have it on the slide, but we see such a need with trauma-focused treatment that just last week we transitioned our Shelton IOP track to a trauma-focused women's track. Deb in the back is one of the clinicians doing it. And as far as we know, we've really done research, we've looked into it, we think we're the only IOP in the state that's doing that. And similarly, we started our young adult IOP, Cricket, one of our singers, is the clinician for the track. And the only other one we know of in the state is at IOL, and that's in Hartford, right? So there's, again, fulfilling a need that the community needs. All right, so what makes us unique? So in psychiatry, we have the opportunity to see patients throughout their whole treatment journey in all levels of care. So we have staff, most of our staff members are trained in all programs. So we often see patients from their worst to their best. So we see them when they come to the emergency room, get hospitalized in CP South, come to IOP, outpatient. Unfortunately, sometimes they go back and forth between the levels of care, but we see them throughout the course of years often on their treatment journey, which is very unique to be a part of. Staff members truly care about the patient and really embody what it means to be a Plaintree caregiver. I think a lot of times, I know for me, when I think of Plaintree, I think of the beautiful artwork in the hospital, how it's so pristine, how the fish tanks, the freshly baked cookies on the floors. A little fun fact, I used to be a cookie baker about 25 years ago. I had to throw that in there. So obviously all that stuff is much appreciated, but for better or for worse, we don't have a lot of that stuff in psychiatry. So we think of being a Plaintree department, it really comes from our staff members. It comes from the care, the respect that they give the patients. And sure, of course, this is a business, but the patients always come first, and I think that that's evident in the work that we do. right, so we think that this makes us pretty unique too. So we really don't have any formal advertising. So our programs are really well known and respected by members of the community, patients, families, other local hospitals, rehabs, other mental health, private providers, agencies. So we have a good reputation of providing quality care. We hear from patients often that we don't, that they find our program different. Sometimes they can't really articulate why, but they come back because they find our program, better quality. So we continue to grow. The growth that we mentioned earlier, we grow with the efforts of our own staff without any formal advertising. So no commercials, no radio ads, no billboards. It's really word of mouth that sustains our program. All right, so we're gonna end with really highlighting some of our, the words from the patients. So this is what we take most pride in. Our work is challenging, everyone's work is challenging, but when we read some of these, it reminds us why we do the work we do. So we're just gonna take some direct quotes from some of the satisfaction surveys. So this person, you could see they strongly agree, but it was the quote that we wanted to include. This was the best therapeutic program I have attended. It helped me more than you know. These services helped save my life. I am very grateful to the staff here. I'm not gonna read all of these, but you could see staff is extremely friendly and knowledgeable, wonderful, caring, and polite. Everyone here is helpful. The therapists and secretarial staff are nice, competent, and I really like coming here. I always leave feeling better and I've recommended it. I'm very satisfied. So again, a common theme you see is always treated with respect. I think that that's something, again, that we take pride in. I like the last one. It says, usually I'm plain treed. I love the roses outside the building when in bloom. So we have the roses added to the plane tree. So again, I should have not. So we really appreciate your time in considering us the Department of the Year. Again, I think of psychiatry. We're away from the hospital. We think of ourselves, of course we know we're part of Griffin, but sometimes, it's like, oh, psychiatry, there's a bit of a stigma against psychiatry, but we really feel like in recent years we're getting more recognized, and again, I think in part due to, understanding how important mental health is. So we really appreciate your consideration.
Great job.
So one more time,